everyone. Now we will focus on making of the constitution. So we are collecting the source from one of the standard book and we are going to revise it thoroughly. Demand for Constituent Assembly. So if you go for introduction, so why it is needed? So what do you feel? Why was it needed? What was the demand? Why was it demanded? So the concept of Constituent Assembly was first proposed by M.N. Roy. In which year? 1934. He is the first communist leader in India, right? So yeah. Second, after that, Indian National Congress also officially demanded Constituent Assembly in 1935. Later, we have Jawaharlal Nehru also. So that is key development if you see. Jawaharlal Nehru emphasized the need for Constituent Assembly elected on the basis of adult franchise in 1938. Okay, then in the August offer of the 1940 by the British government accepted the demand in principle. So the sequences, first M.N. Roy, then INC, then Nehru, then August offer. Okay, then comes Cripps Mission, proposed a draft constitution, but it was rejected by Muslim League because they were expecting the partition. Okay. So next comes some cabinet mission plan. The cabinet mission arrives in March 1946 and proposed a constituent assembly. So which mission? Cabinet mission. Then it rejected the idea of two separate assemblies for Hindus and Muslims. So that's what cabinet mission. So during cabinet mission there will be a question whether it is accepted two separate assemblies. No, it was not. It accepted only one assembly, right? Okay. Then we'll see now composition of a constituent assembly. Formation if you see, established in November 1946 based on the cabinet mission proposal. Total members 389 members. So 296 from British India, 93 from princely states. So representation if we focus, seats allotted based on population with the representation for Muslim, Sikh and others, indirectly elected by provincial legislative assembly members. So totally it is like indirectly elected plus nominated members. Okay, you say me which of the princely state had a maximum representation? Comment below. Okay, then we'll see election. Elections held in August 1946. INC secured 208 seats, Muslim League only 73, others 15. Okay, princely states largely abstained from participation. So now the question is, did princely state participated in the first meeting of Constituent Assembly? So comment below. Diversity of membership if you see, it included representatives from various communities and important personalities except Mahatma Gandhi, right? So and working of Constituent Assembly we will explore now. First meeting held on December 9th, 1946. Okay, the Muslim League by-goded it. Dr. Sachinanda Sinha was elected as temporary chairman. So the question will be, who was the temporary chairman of Constituent Assembly? It was Sachinanda Sinha. Who was the permanent chairman? It was Rajendra Prasad. Okay, then there was an objective resolution. It was introduced by Nehru on December 13, 1946, declared India as an independent sovereign republic and laid down fundamental principles for governance. So it has been adopted by entire house unanimously. So on January 22nd, 1947, which influenced the constitution, particularly preamble. Changes by the Independence Act 1947 if you see, what are the changes? Sovereignty. The assembly was recognized as a fully sovereign body capable of framing any constitution. So later 1947 Act, Constituent Assembly became sovereign. Legislative function also be followed. It became the legislative body for ordinary laws and constitution making. Now say who was the chairman, president for legislative body and who was the president for Constituent Assembly? Comment below. This will be a very important question. So withdrawal of members, Muslim League members withdraw, reducing the assembly strength to 299. Then the Constituent Assembly of India functions, committees and criticism we'll see. The Constituent Assembly of India played a crucial role in the establishment of India's constitutional framework, as we all know this, right? So this document will explore its various functions. Now we'll see this. Functions, if you see what was it doing? In addition to drafting the constitution, Constituent Assembly undertook several significant functions. One is drafting and enacting the constitution, the primary function, as we know. So function was to create a comprehensive framework for governance. Ratification of Commonwealth membership. Now you should remember when did we ratify. They'll give 3-4 things and then ask them to match or arrange in a sequence. So first in 1949 we have ratified Commonwealth membership. When did the national flag adopted? When was national song adopted? When did national anthem got adopted? So you should be knowing all these things, okay? So it was Commonwealth was in 1949. National flag in July 22, 1947, just before the independence, if you notice this. So 1949, it is after independence, right? Okay. National anthem and national song on the same day, January 24, 1950. So when was our Republic Day? 26th Jan, right? So 2 days before only. Election of the first president on January 24th, 1950. The Assembly elected Dr. Rajendra Prasad as the first president of India. Functioning as the provincial parliament also. It was functioning as provincial parliament as well. Following the constitution's enactment, the assembly served as the provincial parliament until the first general election. When was the first general election held? 1951-52, okay? Preparation of a constitution draft. The assembly meticulously analyzed the constitution of approximately 60 countries, leading to the formation of a draft and underwent extensive discussion and revisions. Public participation. Citizens were allowed to discuss the draft constitution and provide suggestions, ensuring public involvement in the constitution. So even people were included. Sessions of the Constituent Assembly, we see there were 11 sessions, which was spent for 2 years, 11 months, 18 days. 114 days dedicated to reviewing the draft constitution. The total expenditure was around 64 lakh rupees. The final session took place in January 24th, 1950. So we know it this date for what? National song and anthem, right? So when was national flag adopted? 1947 July. Yes. So committees of Constituent Assembly, if you see, there are certain important. So major committees we will see. Union Powers Committee headed by Nehru. Even Constituent Committee, that is Union Constitution Committee and Provincial Union Constitutional Committee, even State Constitutional Committee headed by Jawaharlal Nehru. Whereas Provincial Constitution Committee headed by Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Drafting Committee, as we know, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Advisory Committee on Fundamental Rights, Minorities and Tribal and Excluded Areas, it was by Sardar Patelji. Subcommittees, if you see, Fundamental Rights, it was by Krupalini. Minority by Mukherjee. Northeast Frontier Tribal Areas and Assam Excluded and Partially Excluded Areas Subcommittee was by Gopinath Bardoli. Excluded and partially excluded areas other than those in Assam were by Thakkar. So Rules of Procedure Committee, Rajendra Prasad. So Rules Committee by Rajendra Prasad. So State Committee, Nehru. Steering Committee, Rajendra Prasad. So you should be remembering because you will be getting in a master following question, okay? State Committee, Nehru, and Steering Committee, Rajendra Prasad. Rajendra Prasad known for 2, Steering Committee and comment below. Minor committees, if we know, Finance and Staff Committee, Credentials Committee, House Committee, Order of Business Committee, ad hoc committees on national flag and all. So these are not much important, but don't forget to remember major committees. Then Drafting Committee, if we see particularly, there were 7 members, we should be knowing them. The Drafting Committee established on August 29, 1947. So we got August 15, the independence. After that, only drafting committee got established. So after independence, okay, was critical in preparing the constitution draft. It included 7 members, as I told. Ambedkar, chairman, Gopalaswamy Iyengar, Alladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, Munshi, Syed Muhammad Syedullah, Madhav Rao, later replaced by Mitto, and Krishnamachari, replaced by Khaitan. Okay. So the committee met for only 141 days to complete its work and released the first draft in February 1948, allowing citizens to provide feedback for the subsequent draft released in October 1948. So February to October, people were able to give their suggestions. Enactment of the Constitution. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar introduced the final draft on November 4th, 1948. The Assembly discussed it over 5 days, followed by a clause-by-clause review from November 15, 1948 to October 17, 1949, during which 7,653 amendments were proposed. The third reading began on November 14, 1949, leading to adoption of a constitution on November 26, 1949, with 284 out of 299 members present signing it. So not all the members. Okay. This date is now recognized as the Constitution Day. So Republic Day is different from Constitution Day. Okay. The final constitution comprised a preamble, 395 articles, 8 schedules. Enforcement of a constitution. Certain provisions relating to citizenship and elections took effect on November 26, 1949, while most provisions were enacted on January 26, 1950, marking the day as the Republic Day. This date was significant, commemorating Purna Swaraj Day in 1935, which was adopted in which session? It will start from the letter L. So comment below. Upon the commencement of the Constitution, the Indian Independence Act of 1947 and the Government of India Act of 1935 were replaced. So there was expert committee of Congress. Before election to the Constituent Assembly, the Congress party established an expert committee on July 8, 1946. This committee was responsible for preparing a material for the assembly and included prominent leaders such as Jawaharlal Nehru, K.M. Munshi. The committee held 2 sessions which laid the groundwork for autonomous areas and negotiated with princely states. Okay. So criticism of a Constituent Assembly, there are certain criticism also. They say like it's not fully representative body, lack of sovereignty, lengthy process, dominance of Congress party, composition and expertise. So these are some of the criticism, not much important to memorize, but yeah. Significance of Constituent Assembly, if you see, the Constituent Assembly played a transformative role in shaping modern India. Its significance can be outlined as follows. Foundation of democracy, inclusivity and rights, framework for governance, symbol of national unity, legal framework for reform, and guidance for future amendments. So this is all about making of the Constitution portion. If you focus on whatever points I said, that will be more than sufficient. You don't need to check out different sources from this chapter. One source is sufficient. Revise it multiple times. Just remember certain facts which I have mentioned throughout the video. That's all.